Welcome back to New Amsterdam Radio, the podcast for creators. It is I, the mayor, Flobo Boyce, in the mayor's office, and I'm back from vacation, back to get to work with someone who is doing the work every dang day. Please welcome from GroHaus, Drew Donaldson to the show. What's going on, sir?
Thanks a lot for having me. Really appreciate you taking the time to talk.
Oh, no problem. I hope you like that intro because we don't pay our guests, so that was like totally my payment to you.
No, that works, man. That sounded great.
Right, I will. Why can't I complain? So I got to ask a question off the top before we get into your business. You are a CEO, right? What is the CEO life like? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it ugly? Somewhere in between?
It's not as glamorous as you'd think, to tell you the truth. I mean,
Rick
I
Ross
think
said
at some...
otherwise.
What's that?
Rick Ross said otherwise, though.
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing is when you start a company, you don't start it for a title. You start it because you have a passion for something. You have a talent for something. And then as you grow and you adopt these people into your orbit, whether it be vendors or staff or freelancers or whatever, you kind of have to evolve into this leader. You have to evolve into the C-suite. So I think it's a different thing building your own company and becoming CEO the organic way rather than a company just coming and plucking you and be like, oh, you're the new chief executive. Yeah. So it's not, that's what I mean. It's not as glamorous. I didn't get like a big signing bonus when I started here. I started with, a couple bucks in my bank account and like a desire to help people start businesses.
Absolutely. So let's talk about it. GroHaus. Besides a cool name and having house spelled like house, what was the idea behind it, and how were you planning to help other businesses when you decided to launch?
So first, the name is actually kind of an homage to my dad. My dad, for the first 10 years of my life, all he talked about was wanting to open up his own greenhouse and have kind of a lawn and garden center, and that was his dream. He wanted to leave the bank he was working for and start this business. And right around the time I was 8 or 9, he got the opportunity to do it. He did it. It was had a huge opening. It was a great success. Unfortunately, he died like a year afterwards. So he got to see his dream come to fruition, only to have his life cut short. Right. Which always just stuck with me because this guy was as passionate about growing fruits and vegetables and hostas and everything you could imagine as I am about growing businesses. And so when I was thinking about what do I call this business, it just came naturally that GroHaus is the best way, because the best thing, because it's the same nurturing and care that my dad put into plants, I'm putting into business owners. And so the way we do that is primarily through coaching, consulting, and agency services. And we've been doing it we started actually right before the pandemic, which is a great time to start a business, in case you're wondering. But we've been at it. We took the slings and arrows, and now we're 3.5 years in and rolling strong.
And you're an East Coast kid, born and raised.
That's right. I live in a house 15 minutes away from where I grew up.
And what was that like, putting that sensibility into your business, the way you run your business?
Well, I came from rural America. So most of the people I knew were small business owners in the very traditional sense. They owned tire stores or dental practices or, dog walking businesses. Like, they weren't these big, they weren't startups in Silicon Valley. They weren't these, huge companies that are like technically a small business, but they have 100 employees. Like, They were truly mom and pop shops. And so that's what I grew up experiencing. My mom owned an insurance agency at the time. And so I used to go there and file for her and, white out folders so that she could recycle them so that she didn't have to spend as much on office supplies. And so, like, growing up in that environment has a huge impact on the way you perceive business and the economy. Like, I didn't have the glamour was never part of it. I never thought of business as like, oh, I'm going to wear a suit one day and I'm going to go, like, I was thinking, no, I'll be wearing a t-shirt and jeans and driving around a pickup truck doing something. Like, that was my version of like what small business ownership meant, because that's all I saw. Like, it was farmers. It was people that would come over and fix your sink. So I think that really instilled a value of like the service business and manual trades and working for people that, it's not a matter of their level of education. It's the amount of dedication they put into the work. And so that I think is colored more than anything my perspective on this business.
Pennsylvania, if you don't mind me asking.
Pennsylvania, that's right.
So are you Team Wawa or Team Sheets?
What's that?
Are you Team Wawa or Team Sheets?
Oh, Sheets. Get out of here with this Wawa nonsense.
I gotta ask. Everyone in Pennsylvania has a choice. I'm sorry.
First off, First off, if you haven't been to a Sheetz, go to a Sheetz. It's great.
Right.
They have the best fries in the world. They have like, so imagine every appetizer you could possibly imagine, like all the great ones. They all have them. You can just order them: mozzarella sticks, zucchini fingers, fried pickles, deep fried Oreos, like literally anything you could want. Sheetz sells. Wawa just has sandwiches, and not even good sandwiches. Like Quick Check does a better sandwich than
Whoa,
than
those
Wawa.
are fighting words, man.
Oh yeah, come find me. I'll send you my address.
Come at me, bro.
Exactly.
I've only experienced the fancy Wawas because I went to college in Florida, but I have not seen the original Wawa because I lived in New York and we didn't have those.
Yeah.
So it's like, dang. And shout out to your mom recycling office supplies, because people forget before Amazon, they were really expensive, you know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of outfits out there that have the tagline, hey, you're going to help your business grow. In fact, a lot of small business owners could be pretty much inundated by vendors who want to help you out. In fact, I've blocked Yelp 6 times this week myself. What makes GroHaus different, and what do you do differently when it comes to explaining what you do to help other businesses out?
Well, I think the first thing is that I know every single one of my clients personally by name. I know their families. I know their businesses inside and out. I spend an inordinate amount of time building a relationship with them before we ever do business together. And the reason for that is because before I ever take a dollar from somebody, I want to make sure I can actually help them. And there are plenty of people that I talk to every week that I turn down because I don't think I can help them. It could be because the industry they're in is just not a good fit for my methodologies. It could be that them as a person, I don't think they're going to be the kind of coachable person that is going to succeed with me telling them, hey, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. And it's not perfect. We still have people come in and we work together and we're like, yeah, this isn't a fit. But because I spend so much time doing that pre-work, our success rate is really good. And I've always been very proud of the success we've had and the testimonials we received. And I'm always very open about showing even my own campaigns and saying, this is exactly the amount of money I'm spending. The ad you saw, you clicked on, here's what it looks like. Here's what the actual numbers look like. Here's what my return on that ad is. And even going as far as asking permission from my clients, hey, can I open up your ad account on a call with a client and show them exactly what we're doing for you? And so by being as transparent as possible and building that relationship with clients, we just have a really good success rate because I'm not pawning all my clients off to someone that has no idea what their business is, who's just there to fill a seat and collect a paycheck. Like, because I take that ownership in their business, that is the direct correlation of why we have so much success in this space.
Sure. You know, a lot of times clients, I call it like the other side, the two sides of the spectrum, right? When we work with a client, either they're kind of like, I don't know, just make me rich. And then there's other clients who are kind of like, no, man, I want to be high-fiving Oprah by next week. Can you make that happen? Like, how do you temper or even explain the limitations given with every client or package or their business?
So like both of those people wouldn't be good clients for me because we don't work with people who believe in get rich quick. I prefer get rich slowly, work hard. The fact of the matter is that in order to scale to that level in any business is going to take a lot of work. Like, yeah, I could write you a killer ad, and I've written campaigns that have generated hundreds of leads overnight. It can be done. But if that's what you're counting on, that I'm going to wave some magic wand and turn your business into a success overnight, it's not the right expectation to have coming into a relationship like this. Like, I'm going to put my honest to God effort into helping you grow this thing. I'm expecting you to put in that same effort. If your mindset is, hey, I'm going to pay you, I'm going to walk away, not do anything, and then you're just going to make this thing explode, there's plenty of people that'll take your money to do that. I'm not going to be one of them, though. Like, I'm really looking for people I can partner with who are coachable, who understand, who are interested in what we do. Like, it's one thing to want someone to do the heavy lifting. That I get. Yeah. We have tons of clients like that. It's another thing to say, I don't want to even think about this. I don't want to think about my customers. I don't want to think about my messaging, my positioning. Just make me rich.
Sure.
That's not a recipe for success.
Oh, it's not. I'll write that down. No. I'm totally kidding. Let's take a step back. I know you had the idea, and I know you were inspired by others and their aspirations for entrepreneurship. You had the moment to say, look, I have an idea. I think it can work, or I know it can work. Let's make it happen. But what was your ramp up to launch like? Was it kind of like sleepless nights? Did you have a strong team, a big team? Were there haters in the streets? What was going through your circle while getting GroHaus off the ground?
So January 2020, I was in the last year of a consulting agreement, and I knew by the end of the year I was probably going to cycle out. I'd grown kind of tired of what I was doing. And so I started looking at like what my next step was going to be. And so I filed the paperwork, got everything set up, started working, got to the point where I'm starting to put packages together, and then the entire world shuts down. Right. So now we're in March. For the rest of the year, what I spent most of my time doing, besides the consulting work I was doing, was talking to small business owners. And that process took about 9 months. I spent 9 months just on the phone every day with business owners of all different stripes from all around, pretty much anyone who would pick up the phone, asking them what were the challenges they were facing in marketing, what did they need the most help with, what were their budgets like, and essentially telling them up front, I have absolutely nothing to sell you. I could not sell you something if I wanted to, and you're not going to buy it because everybody is broke and scared right now anyway. So let's just have a really honest conversation about what you need help with, so that maybe someday I can circle back and give you something that's going to make sense for you.
Sure.
And so I did that all throughout the year. And then around November, I just happened to intersect with these two other gentlemen who were starting an agency with a very similar model. And they were also in Pennsylvania. And the idea was like, why don't, instead of launching two competing agencies at the same time, why don't you come on, run the agency? We'll cover, we'll give you a salary. That way you don't have to worry about, the slings and arrows of starting a business from scratch. But then we'll be partners in it, right? So we'll own 60% of the business. You'll own 40% and whatever. So we did that for a year, and we, wrapped up that research. We went into the market. We got banned on Facebook our very first day of advertising.
Wow.
Full ban.
Too hot for Facebook.
Exactly. And it was on, this is back when like Facebook was really sensitive about text in the image ratios.
Sure.
And we just had a lot of very text heavy ads, and it got flagged. Now, obviously it's a totally different game now. You'd never get banned for that on Facebook. They've changed the rules. But back then, if you had too many letters, they would take it off. And we just had too many letters on too many ads, and they kicked us off Facebook right away.
Yeah, that happened to me actually for one of my tour date posts. Where I was like, I'm going tour. And it was like, not today, you're not. And
yeah, exactly. So what we did is we put all of our effort into designing a landing page that would convert and pay-per-click ads. And within 3 months, we'd scaled the business to 6 figures. And that really validated the fact that if we could price this affordably, if we could create a program that helps the person that's just starting today, and that also fits the person that's 10 years in the business, there's money to be had with this personal level of service that we have, and this deep interest in businesses, and not just, oh yeah, sign up for our coaching program. You're going to be in a group coaching with 400 other people, and hopefully we'll talk to you, but probably not. Like, that's what the only alternative was, either that or hire a big agency, or piece together a freelance team. And so we realized that there was a market for this. And so for the next year, we ran the business together. We did all sorts of, we started doing group sessions, whereas first we were just doing one-on-one. We did live streams for a period of time. We just tried a bunch of stuff. And the following year, of March of last year, they came to me and said, you know what? I think we kind of want to move on to something else. What do you think about buying us out? And I jumped at the opportunity. They came to me March 1st. At the end of March was our second most profitable month of all time. So I was feeling really good signing the paperwork to close the deal. And April 1st of last year, I took the business over completely. We rebranded. We were temporarily under a different brand name. We rebranded back to the original name of GroHaus. And we've been just rolling ever since. And just every month we can get better at what we do and what the services we're offering, and better positioned to help the people that really matter in this country.
A personal question. I understand it was the pandemic and everyone was kind of scared, and everyone had sea legs about that, but it has to be a part of you, the Mamba mentality, the CEO's kind of ego, maybe, that you're like, well, okay, this is kind of a side quest, right? I'm doing this under another banner. Yeah, I got a cut of it, but it's not really the goal I had in mind at first. What kept you in that bubble, the year and a half you're in that agreement?
I will say that it did not take very long for me to start having wandering eyes and say, you know what? There are differences in the way I want to run this business and how I know this business needs to be run, and the way they want me to run this business. And we would clash a lot of that. We had very different perspectives on what needed to do, and what the evolution was like, and what the timeline was like for success, and what success actually looked like. And so it didn't take long for that to start gnawing on me. And there were plenty of times during that first year and a half that I went to my wife and I said, I think I'm just going to quit. I think I'm just going to give him back the company. I'm just going to go back to doing CMO work and give this up, because it's not worth it to me. It's not worth it to me to walk in every day and have this fight of how to grow a business that I know how to grow. Like I know what needs to happen. And in a lot of instances, it felt like they were standing in my way of making that happen. Sure. Not always. Many times they were very, very supportive. I don't want to, make it seem like they were villains in this story at all. Right. But there were differences about the way we approach the world that made me feel like I could not push this business to where I wanted to be. So when that happened, when they came to me and said, "Hey, we want out," I was over the moon. Like, yeah. Even though I knew it was going to cost me a fortune to buy them out, like, I was tap dancing down the stairs to tell my wife, who at the time was 6 months pregnant, that I was about to invest all of our money buying my partners out of this business, because I knew we had something. I knew we had something special. And in just the last year since we bought them, we've grown 150%. So as soon as we, took the business over and were able to take it in the direction that I saw the prosperity in, immediately things started going our way. So it's just, you're right. There's absolutely this this sense of like, man, there's so much more I could do if I could just really hold the steering wheel and not pretend to hold the steering wheel. But I do appreciate that they gave me the initial start to get us going in the first place and to validate those ideas. So it's a mixed bag.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the cool things about what we do is that you think about the betting on yourself or making the leap, but we learn very quickly. Those are in the space. You make leaps like daily, if not on the hour. Yeah. So the props you were able to better yourself again and have the opportunity is amazing. I think that's the most encouraging thing for people in that sense. What I like about GroHaus, though, is perusing the website, is that you are totally open with sharing some information for people to check out and learn more about what their needs and their businesses and that. And then you actually had an article here, which I really appreciated, because it was like how to get started marketing on social where you don't have anything to sell. Because I really feel that a lot of would-be entrepreneurs get handcuffed at the launch first hype. In fact, here's an anecdote. A friend of mine wants to launch a podcast, but they're like, well, I got to wait till April because I got to do this, that, and that. The question I have for you there is like, what's been some of the old school ways of thinking, conventional wisdom that's actually not conventional when it comes to helping entrepreneurs be themselves and, lead into their businesses?
Well, I think the first thing is that everyone assumes paid media is the last thing you do, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's the thing that costs money, right? So, don't spend money until you have to. That's the traditional wisdom. Do all the free things first. But that actually costs you more money. And the proof in the pudding is time cost. So can you go and post on Facebook every day of the week? You sure can. Is it going to take you a lot of time? Yes, it will. How much return just posting organically on Facebook every day are you actually going to get? Almost nothing, because Facebook has zero organic reach. And if you're just starting out with no audience, no one's going to see your post. So you have a couple options. You request, and I guarantee people listening have done this because I've done this in the early days. You go and you hit that invite button 1,000 times and invite every single person on your friend list, even if they have no idea what your business is or in your target market. Right. You try to get as much free publicity as you can. You're on Haro. You're trying to get on podcast. You're doing as much stuff as possible to get your name out there. But at the end of the day, organic reach is always going to be limited. There's always going to be a social platform that has good organic reach. TikTok has pretty good organic reach right now. YouTube Shorts, pretty good organic reach. Facebook and Instagram are dead. You cannot get organic reach on those platforms whatsoever, unless you're already like a big star and, Facebook has kind of given you the golden circle of like, ooh, yeah, we'll give you as much exposure as you want because you keep people on the platform. But if you're just starting out, you're not going to be one of those people. And so I think the big mistake people think is like, well, I have to produce all this content. I have to grow this thing organically. I just have to do the Gary V 60 pieces a day forever and just burn myself out. When the reality is the first thing I would do if I was starting a business is run a paid ad. And the reason is because I want to validate the idea of the business before I invest any time or money into marketing, right? Or more additional money, extra money. I don't want to build a website first. I don't want to go and invest in content. I don't want to write blogs. I don't want to do anything. I want to put one video out and see if I can get people to click on it. If people can click on it, then that tells me the idea is worth something. And then I can build the rest of my funnel. Then I can build my website. Yeah. But if you put out an ad for dog walking, right? So you want to own a dog walking business. I live in a town of 1,500 people, way out in the hinterlands of Pennsylvania, right? I go put an ad out. First off, I don't even know if Facebook would let me target just my town. That's to be determined. But say they could,
Right.
if there's not enough people that want to hire a dog walker, why would I go through all the effort of creating content and a website and promotional material and flyers and all this stuff when the market doesn't exist to begin with? The market doesn't want me to begin with. So instead of going and building all the marketing foundations that people tell you, what you really need to do is just run one ad. Run one ad with the core concept of your business and see if people click on it. And if they do, great. Now figure out why. Figure out what that market actually looks like. What are they really interested in? How much are they willing to spend? But until you validate that idea, all other marketing is really just kind of window dressing. It doesn't really get you as close to the goal as you think. It's really just more to show people that, oh, I'm working on my business.
Well, apologize for drilling down here in this particular subject, because I feel like a lot of us, when we have that first idea, we just assume idea comes out, family loves it, friends love it. They'll be lifting me up in the streets with then confetti is going to fall from the sky. And then when our family and friends go, we're not really buying into that, we feel the model's broken, and then no one likes us, no one supports us, wham. So I think it's a little bit more of like back to that conventional wisdom thing when they go, well, do I want to put money up into an ad if grandmama won't buy one, if my friends want discounts? Is it worth putting?
So unless you're selling photo albums from your family reunion, your family and friends are not your target market most of the time, right? Yeah, right. One of my best friends here is an engineer. He works in robotics. He has a little small business. Drew, isn't he a client of yours? No, he's not. Because he doesn't want to grow his business. He makes these custom bike parts. He sells enough to put some extra money in his pocket. He's not interested in the services I provide. He's not interested in replacing his day-to-day income, right? Yeah. My family and friends are not the core demographic for my services. Most of my family now, if I looked at them, they're going to be farmers. They're going to be in the construction arena, or they're retired, right? A lot of my uncles and aunts, they don't have businesses anymore. They're retired from their businesses. So why would I go and take an idea to them if they're not the right demographic? The biggest mistake you can make is trusting your mom when it comes to your business ideas. She is going to tell you they are just the greatest thing since sliced bread, and then your brother will come in your room and tell you you're stupid. That is just how family works when you have a business idea. The better way is to go to a cold audience, people that don't know you, people that don't care about your feelings. The market will tell you in brutal terms whether you are on track or not. And if you're not, you are going to find out much quicker than you would from your family, who is only going to, Monday morning quarterback you after the thing has failed. Yeah, I didn't think that was going to work. Yeah, I should go back to the 9 to 5. Yeah, they'll be supportive today, but when time comes to actually ring the register, most people's families are not the core market for that.
Yeah. I mean, as we say in the streets, he's preaching right now. He's preaching. No, I appreciate your candor, appreciate your insight. And sometimes people need to hear that. Your friends and family are great. They will say, good job, but good job doesn't really pay the bills. Well, this is New Amsterdam Radio. I'm sitting here with GroHaus CEO, not a guy who works there, the guy who basically crafted the company from the ashes, Drew Donaldson. And before we get you out of here, there's some questions we have to ask all our guests on a personal level. I want to show if you're down to play a little bit of lightning round.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Do you believe in days off? And if so, what do you do?
I do. I do believe in days off. I think it's important to recharge the batteries. I think it's the whole reason I'm in this business in the first place. The reason I started this business is because I wanted to spend more time with my family. The way I have the traditional weekend, Saturday, Sunday is no work days. I might put in a couple hours at night when the family goes to sleep. But those days are reserved for hanging out with them, doing family stuff. Mondays and Fridays, I also take off partially. Some days I do work on Fridays, but Mondays I take off almost entirely. And the reason for those 2 days is those are my administrative days. So I do all of my work Tuesday through Thursday. And then Monday and Friday is the day where I catch up on bills and return emails that are long overdue and all of that fun CEO stuff. So by doing that, it makes it so that the work I put in Tuesday through Thursday, I can do 10, 12-hour days and cover myself for the week. I don't have to then go and spend time on the weekends and away from the family and dip into these other pockets of time because I only have 3 days at a session to sprint through.
Man's got a schedule. With your team, how do you particularly team build to keep morale up during times of lean periods?
So I think the first thing is understanding where your actual needs are and not hiring people just because they're friends, family, etc. I'm a big proponent of not hiring friends and family. Tried that in the past, did not go well, so we don't do it anymore. So I really look at, first off, can I bring someone on part-time to do a job, or do I need them full-time? And I hire for specific tasks. I don't like generalists, because a generalist too often gets overloaded with work because it's like, oh, well, that's what they're for. Just throw more on their lap. I would rather, like my project manager, all she does is project management. My video editors, all they do is edit video. That's it, right? My social person, all he does is post on social and help run the ad campaigns. That's it. So there's a clear silo around each person, and I hire that person for that specific need and nothing else. Now, occasionally a need will expire. Like, for example, with our project manager, we realized that the project load that we had a couple months back was a little lighter than we anticipated. So what we did is we trained her in a new practice, and then she split her time. So she did this one practice that was really helpful for us executing for clients, and then she did the core project management as well. But we weren't loading we weren't like, oh, by the way, can you also do this? Can you also do this? It was still in the management arena. It was still played to her core competencies. So my perspective is not to not to go and hire a bunch of people. Hire the people that are very specific and very good at what they do.
But for morale, like, what do you do to team build, like the camaraderie, like the feeling, to not like feel like they're like going to enslaved camp or something like that?
No. So it's very hard to do that with an all digital business because we do not have an office. People are not showing up. We're not having parties or anything like that. But we do meet each week. I congratulate everyone on the work that they do well. I think the one thing that most leaders fail to do is acknowledge success in their team. And so I always take time to, in front of everyone, say like, man, Odessa, you just crushed it this week, or lady, you just crushed it this week. Those little things really can add up. That and bonusing people when they really deserve it. I think those go a long way. Like showing appreciation for another person's work, even in small ways, is incredibly powerful when it comes to keeping that morale high. I think the other thing is being really flexible. My team does not have to ask for days off. They do not have to ask for sick days. They do not have to ask if their parent is sick and needs to take, like they just say, hey, I need to take the time off. I'm not, in the business of trying to, be a stickler and pointing at the time clock and saying, oh, you aren't back from lunch. I don't care. The work just needs to get done. If the work gets done, I don't care if you do it at 3 a.m. It doesn't matter to me. Right. I'm more concerned with the wellness of you as a human being and that you're going to stick around because I like you and I like the work you do. So that's really how I approach it. It's not like it's not like Google where I'm like, I'm buying pod chairs for everybody or spinny hats. Like none of that stuff really matters. What really matters is just treating people how you'd want to be treated and like a human being.
I mean, I like pizza parties. I got 2 more for you. Everyone collects something. What do you collect?
Collect a lot of things. I collect probably too many things. Baseball hats is one of the things I collect. Yeah. I have a bunch of just baseball hats from around the country from different businesses. So I really like, that's probably one of my big collections. Some of my odder collections are like, I collect a lot of like historical artifacts that I live in a very old house. And so we found different artifacts around the house. And so I have a collection of old newspapers that we found from like World War I and the turn of the century and stuff. Wow. And things like that. And then I am awful with like knickknacks and stuff. Like when I travel and like I see some stupid, like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like, okay, well, this isn't a stupid thing. This is kind of cool. This is from a client of mine who's an artist. And it's a piece of a larger painting that she cut up and dipped in epoxy. See, it's like a little brick. And so like I have like stuff like this that's just like mementos of things I've done. Like this, we did a big art gallery opening with her over the summer. And this is one of the things she gave me when I came up and visited her. It was one of the rare times I actually got to meet a client face to face, so it was really meaningful. So I keep that kind of by my desk to remind me, why I do it. And so I have stuff like that I collect as well.
Pretty cool. And lastly, what is your favorite junk food if you partake?
Kraft mac and cheese.
If that's a junk food, with simple pleasure.
Dude. Yeah. Dude, blue box, family size, blue box Kraft mac and cheese. Oh, yeah. Like every time I make it, I have to ask my wife ahead of time. I'm like, I'm making mac and cheese. Should I make extra? She's like, I'm only going to have one bite. One bite always turns into a bowl. Like Absolutely. It always turns into a bowl. Yeah. So, but yeah, man, I don't know. I've loved that since I was a kid and I still love it today. Like if I'm ever feeling like down in the dumps, Kraft mac and cheese brings me right up to where I need to be.
It's funny because like I grew up in a blue collar neighborhood, and I'm much like yours, and I feel like there's always some pleasures that won't go away. You can afford like the best salads ever, but you're like, you know what? I could really go for a hot dog right about now. So,
I mean, Costco hot dog is what is $1.50?
Yeah,
box of mac and cheese $1.25. Like money, the best things in life are free, but the second best things are really cheap. Like,
and that's advice for life. Thank you so much for being on the show. Anyway, Amsterdam, the podcast for creatives. Now's the fun part. Now, if someone want to connect with you, see more about GroHaus, how they go about doing that.
Well, you can follow us online. We're active on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. You can just search GroHaus, GroHaus, to see different clips we put out. You can also visit us online, grohaus.org. Again, grohaus.org. And that's where you can book a free coaching session with me. You can see some of the success stories we've had with other clients and read a little bit more about our philosophy and our work.
Oh, yeah.